Welcome to Becoming Spiritual, a podcast about the magic that surrounds us and has always been a part of us. I'm your host, Heather Dolan, a passionate seeker dedicated to bringing together beautiful humans who are doing amazing things in this world. Together, we will explore healing modalities and practical spiritual practices that can enrich your everyday life. We will also hear stories of awakenings, many from people in the corporate world who have broken out of the spiritual closet. Wherever you are in your journey, know you have found a community of open-hearted individuals committed to making themselves and our world a better place. Welcome home.
Welcome back to Becoming Spiritual. In today's episode, I sit down with my friend and retreat co-host, Crystal Roberts from Watermelon Wellness, and we really just start to scratch the surface of our retreat and what it meant to us. We had many powerful learnings, and I think we'll have to unpack that in another episode because today's episode was packed with some special guests. So we invited 2 retreat attendees to come and join us on this episode to share a little bit about their reflections and their experience in the retreat, because when you're facilitating, you're having a very different experience. Even if I was participating in a journey that Crystal was doing, I still was holding space in a different way because Crystal and I created this container for the group that showed up. And so it's just a very different experience. So it was really fun to hear some stories and learn a little bit from 2 of our participants who just, oh my gosh, all the things they shared. We laugh, we cry. It's very moving and really powerful. And so I hope the conversation today inspires you to at least have hope and even take a step to find your people, to find your community, because that's really what this retreat was about. It was about community and creating a really safe space for people to step into whatever it was they needed to heal what needed to be healed, to have conversations and be held in a really loving space without judgment. And while I know we can create that for ourselves, having others around to witness and to be a part of that can be really powerful, and I think even help with a lot of the releasing and the healing work that we can do in these retreats. So I love that they were willing to share their experience. Even some of the things that they shared we hadn't heard. So it was really all brand new information as we were getting it in real time on the podcast. So we didn't plan anything that they were going to share. They were just really open to share their experience and very authentic and grounded in their experiences. So I hope you enjoy the conversation, and I know there'll be more to come down the road as we look at doing other retreats and potentially follow up with some other participants to just hear how things have shifted and changed for them. But again, I hope that this will inspire you to look for, or if you don't see it in your community, create something. I said this before in one of my episodes, that you don't necessarily, from a resource or a time perspective, have to commit to going to something far away. Maybe you get a group together that you feel connected to and you create your own retreat and you do it in your backyard or at someone's house. So I would love to hear if you end up doing something like that, because knowing that this might inspire others to create events that they want to see in the world that maybe they're not finding or maybe are not as accessible would just absolutely warm my heart. So please reach out if you end up doing that. But I hope this just gives you a little spark of joy in your day to hear a little bit from these 2 beautiful light beings about their experience with us. And I am so grateful that you chose to tune in today. So thank you and enjoy all the conversation. So today I am back with the lovely Crystal from Watermelon Wellness, and we are going to be talking all things retreat. We are back from our retreat, and perfect timing, of course. I'm doing this intro, and our first special guest is here already. So
it is perfect timing.
So we are excited. So we're doing something a little different, never done this before. Crystal and I are going to talk a little bit about the retreat and how it all went. And we have 2 attendees who have graciously agreed, actually, they really wanted to do this, to just share a little bit about their experience. So they're going to come in, and we don't know what they're going to share, but we are very open to hearing their reflections in real time and how things are going from since leaving the retreat and going back into everyday life, because we know that can be a choppy landing sometimes. So
A choppy landing. And I just landed literally today. So I stayed after the retreat because I love the area where we held the retreat so much that I wanted to spend a little extra time there. So literally just rolled into my house like an hour ago. So I am delayed a week. Everyone else had to go back.
After a full day plus of travel, it was me, easy 2.5-hour flight. Crystal, like a full day to get back to Canada. So it was a lot.
But I'm back, and I feel so lucky because I had a week that now I'm going back to work tomorrow. So you've had a week. You've all had a week to be back in your 3D world. So we'll have to hear how that was.
Yes, exactly. All right. I am going to bring Jenny in and let her share. Ta-da! Hi, Jenny.
Hi.
Hi. We were just saying I've never done this before. We've never had special guests pop in. I feel like it's kind of a little game show, becoming spiritual. I don't know. Something. Game show. So welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So I guess first, if you want to introduce yourself and share maybe first why you came to the retreat.
So I'm Jenny, and I feel like I had an experience. I went to a retreat before, Sarah Bressman Cosme's retreat, where I met you and Crystal. And I had such a fantastic time that I told my husband, I was like, I think this is my new thing. I was like, I think it's going to be my new hobby. I'm just going to go to these retreats. And he kind of chuckled and was like, sure, you're just coming down off the high of doing this. And so we got home, and I was already considering and thinking of okay, when else would I be able to do this? So anywho, some time had passed by, and I'm continuing to be a mother of 5, and all of my hustle, bustle, busy stuff. And we had a WhatsApp for all of us after the Malvern retreat, where everybody would catch up and maybe put little notes of inspiration in there every once in a while. And you had put on there a link to your podcast, to Becoming Spiritual podcast. And I remember you talked about it at the retreat. I remember being like, I think I asked you actually, I was like, are you ever going to put a link for that in the WhatsApp? And you were like, yeah, I will. And I don't know if you ever did, but that was the first time it came up on my radar. And it just happened to be when you had Crystal on. And I don't know if it was the first time you had her on or what. And so for whatever reason, I just felt like I had to listen to that podcast. And so I pulled it up, and you guys have such amazing energy. And I was so excited to hear what you had to say, especially because I was so blown away after meeting you at that retreat. And so you were talking on the podcast, and just, Crystal had talked about her experience a little bit. And towards the end, you guys had mentioned that you were planning on having a retreat. And I was so ecstatic. I was like, this is it. I just had that immediate pull where I was like, I have to go to this retreat. I love you guys. And I just felt really called to do it. So then I remember, I think I emailed you literally that night. I think it was the day you released the podcast. And I was like, I don't care when it is or where, sign me up. And so I told my husband too. It was so funny because he was like, so you're going on another retreat? I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't know when it is. And it's not fully developed yet, but I was like, I'm doing this retreat.
Imagine we're like, it's going to be in Thailand.
Yeah.
You didn't share the part of, you have 5 kids, one of which is 1.
Yes.
That you were still breastfeeding.
I was, exactly.
Warrior woman.
I brought my pump along. Yeah.
I would have never, you're just so brave and courageous.
Very.
And so you have 5 kids. You homeschool.
I do.
I found out you make all these products. You're pioneer woman.
Yeah.
Channeler extraordinaire.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know how you do it.
Lots of patience. Yeah. I have 5 little sets of helping hands.
Well, it's nice that it's beautiful that you think of it that way, because I would have been like, it's 5 hands that I have to wash and clean and follow and run after, and that make huge raucous messes everywhere. So you were meant for this. So
absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, thank you for that, because I actually, I didn't know the behind the scenes of what made you come. So that's fun. And yeah, Crystal and I think right before we did the episode, we had just decided that we were doing a retreat, like where it was like, I think we're supposed to do a retreat. And she's like, yes. And we're like, okay, we're doing a retreat.
Yeah.
So it was literally just kind of that simple. It wasn't a whole big to do. So tell us a little bit about your experience for those who maybe have never been on a retreat, or just like, what was your, because Crystal and I, are going to share a bit about our experience, how we saw things, but it's obviously very different facilitating. We're on the inside, but the outside.
Yeah, and I totally get that. So I guess, again, after that first retreat, I had such a wonderful experience last November at the Melbourne retreat. And whenever you do these retreats, I feel like each one, they're almost like a gift and they change you in specific ways. And so after that, I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, that experience was so wonderful. Like how, I feel like I'm going to continue doing these retreats, but maybe this one's always going to be special because it was my first one. And so I was really trying to go in, though, and I tell myself, no, don't go in with any preconceived notions. Just go and experience and be you and meet people and enjoy yourself. So coming in, first day of the retreat, and like I feel like even on the way in, there's already like these amazing synchronicities that are happening between everybody. And so the retreat hadn't even started yet, and like the magic was already happening. And then fast forward, we get into the retreat. And it's so funny, too, because we were in 2 separate houses, as you ladies know. And I really wanted to be in the main house because, I really wanted to be in the thicket of everything. I wanted to dabble with everybody and be around everyone and be right in the center of everything. And so I was a little tiny bit bummed that I was going to be in Emerald Shores, which was the house that was right next to the main. And I think there's only 6 of us maybe total in that house. And it's so funny, though, because it was perfect. I mean, I forged such a bond with the ladies that I shared that home with. That on itself became its own little special experience that just was amazing. I feel like I walked away with friends for life. And that was something that was so special for this retreat in particular, because I felt like there was just the perfect number of people where it wasn't too much, it wasn't too little. And we all really got a chance to bond together. Now, that being said, I feel like every day that retreat, I tell my husband, I was trying to explain it to people when I came home, that it literally felt like I was away for a year. I felt like I just time jumped into some portal and I was away with these fabulous people for an entire year. And then I just got dropped back into my 3D world. And I feel like I'm almost there was this withdrawal happening and my body was rejecting being back into 3D reality. Just because of all the fantastic experiences that we had. I mean, from just the introductions even all the way into, there was just so much, like I said, that happened in such a short period of time. The drum circles were magical. The sound bath in particular for me was just transformative. I had the most profound experience. I left my body, and that had never happened before. It was my very first time ever having an out-of-body experience. And we talked about this a little bit, but when I left my body, I could see over the top of everybody during the sound bath. And I felt like I needed to aid in helping everybody release everything that they had been holding on to. And so it was so funny because I felt like I was working with you and Crystal in that time, helping everybody energetically get to where they needed to be. Yeah. And so in that experience, too, I've had time to just kind of sit with it and understand it a little bit better. And I think I actually somehow merged with my higher self, I think is actually what ended up happening. But it's so funny because Crystal came and she healed something in me, released something over my heart, and I cried. And then you came in with the sun balls of magical sun codes. And then... And it awakened something in me. And then from there, I started channeling, which I never expected to happen. And I got a chance to start going over people's past lives with them. And it just, amazing experience.
We have to
back up.
So, so many questions. Okay, so I'm going to set the stage for people. So it was so beautiful. We were on this lake, which we talked about kind of the location stuff, but we had the most gorgeous weather. Which is what happened when you have 18 powerful women, witches, spiritual people coming together. There will not be bad weather.
No. Sunshine and wind.
It was supposed to be cloudy and the high was supposed to be 71 the one day and maybe up to 75 the last day. And it was gorgeous. It was cold in the morning, no mistaking that. But it warmed up. We had gorgeous, like the most perfect weather that we could be outside for so much of the retreat. And there was so many expansive lawns and the dock and everything next to the lake. Being close to the water was really important because we knew, Crystal had said like the water in that lake was really special. The land is really special. So just being outside and being able to have so many things out there was really special. So we were doing the sound bath. So Crystal had set up her bowls. We were doing it on the dock and everyone was laid out, like for the most part on the ground. A couple people were in chairs kind of reclining, but everyone was on this dock right next to the water. And so Crystal did her sound bath and then her and I went around and used tuning forks. And then we both did Reiki and Crystal did head, I did feet. And so, so I had an experience. I've never done like group Reiki like that, so many people. So this was new for me too. And I learned some very important lessons, as you both know, in terms of protecting your energy and not taking on other people. So lots of lessons for me and Crystal. So before the sound bath, were you not channeling information?
So I had a couple experiences previous to this. I would be sitting around and I would almost kind of go into this like quiet state, I guess, maybe. And like, I feel like things would come through, but I never related that to channeling. So I feel like maybe there was glimpses, like bits and pieces. And it was so funny too, because Friday night we were just there. I was being like my normal self and just enjoying everybody's company. And then I feel like I got slammed in and out of my body, quite literally and metaphorically. And then all of a sudden, I was getting these massive downloads. I could feel everybody's energy imprint. And then I just started receiving these messages and I could see like where their soul, like their origin point of where their soul came into being. And then where they had traveled since. That's like very important and directly related to their current ascension timeline and the path that they were currently on. And with that, I was receiving messages about all the things, very specific things that were helping them on their ascension path and the shifting that we're currently going under. And so, like I said, that had never happened before. It was so funny because Karen, I met her on Thursday going to the retreat, and we had spoke quite a bit on Friday, who was another one of the participants at the retreat. And she was like, Jenny, she's like, I feel like you like lied to me. She's like, because here I was thinking you were this normal person like me. And then the next day I was like channeling for everybody. And I was like, listen. Yes, I was like, it was just as much a shock for me. Like I had no idea what was happening.
This is bonkers because I didn't realize this is actually new information, not fake news. I did not know this. That you didn't do that before.
No.
Like, I thought this was your thing, which is why I was like, why is she being so modest of like, oh yeah, sometimes I get information. And I was like, you're full on literally giving entire galactic history. Like she basically was just pulling on, and people have heard us talk about the Akashic Records, so you should know what that is. It felt like you basically were like pulling down someone's Akashic Record book and just like, yep, okay, let me just read this to you, except for you weren't reading it. It just was coming out of you.
Literally.
And not in like an exorcist way, in like a loving,
right.
Like for people who haven't experienced it, it's like a stream of consciousness where it just flows and you just say it and you just keep talking because it just keeps coming.
It just keeps coming. And like I said, and it's so funny too, because later people would come up and they'd be like, can you remind me about what you said about this? And I was like, I don't think I can. I was like, but we can sit down and I'll just like channel some more because it had never happened to me before at all. Like I said, it was literally like I got slammed all of a sudden with like, this is what you're called to do. And I had no clue. We had spoken about this, that you gave me sun balls. And it was kind of this running joke that like you'd never given anybody sun balls before.
That was a new, I was taking in sun energy specifically for you. I wasn't called to do that for anyone else. It was specifically for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And later, it makes more sense now, actually, in the past couple of days where I received my own messages about that. But basically, it was a full-on activation for me. I had dabbled a little bit before, like I said, with maybe that kind of happening and me just not realizing what it was. And you guys blew the doors open. So they were like, nope, she's ready. And I got all these light codes. And then like after the sound bath had finished, I remember I literally like ran upstairs. And if you haven't been to this lodge, it's quite a few stairs to get all the way to the top.
Yes.
And I just I wasn't even really back into my body. And I was like freaking out because of the experience that I had had. And it was so profound. And I started, like I said, I started channeling like this frequency energy that was helping people to release and stuff. And so I ran upstairs because I just needed a second to like gather myself together. And I was like stuffing my face full of food because for whatever reason, my body was like, you have to ground in some way, right? And so colors, I start like reaching for the snack table. And I was like drowning myself in water. And then like I said, I knew something had shifted. I could feel it because it was so different. And then after the sound bath, we did have like channeling with Crystal. But after that, we kind of had some free time. And then that's when everything just started pouring in, where I would just be sitting next to somebody and I would immediately get an energy imprint. And then I'd just be like, blah, 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 blah. You're from here. And like, you need to know this. And everybody's looking at me like a sprouted snout and ears. And, I feel like I kind of did in some way. So yeah, like it was brand new. And since then, it's calmed down a little bit since being home, but it's still coming in strong.
Which is good because you don't want to be, in the grocery store and you're like getting bombarded by like, okay,
right.
This woman was, this person from Sirius and you need to tell her this because then,
Well,
gets
and
a little weird.
For all of the times for it to happen too, I'm so thankful that it was amongst all of you ladies who were already in a place to accept anything that was going to come out of me. Because you always worry too, like, is somebody ready to hear this message? But I think all of us are at a point in our spiritual journey where it made it really easy to share as well. So I could let go a little bit and just whatever came in, came out. So that was helpful.
Yeah. So how have things been? Well, Crystal, I don't want to hog all the questions. Do you have questions?
We really both want to know, how has it been leaving that beautiful bubble we're all in, where you're right, Jenny, where we support one another? Like anything goes. We're not questioning, we're supporting. And then we go back to our real lives. Like, how has that shift been?
Well, I will say, coming out of that special bubble, like I said, of that fifth dimensional reality that we seem to all be encased in, where it was so magical and there was so much love and camaraderie and just it being amazing. And then, like I said, you have this amazing experience and something that changes you down on a cellular level. And that's what it was for me. So to come home and then just be like, okay, you're mama 5 again, chef, cleaner, like to take on my normal routine and my day-to-day stuff. My body was already like, ugh, no, and so it was so funny because I have a retriever, okay, and he's a year old and he's obnoxious and we love him, but he's a lot. And he has this like e-collar, and I was still feeling like when I came home, I was spending a lot of time outside, a lot of time juicing, a lot of time like eating high vibrational foods and stuff just to kind of help with that integration process of like, okay, I'm home now and I have to reset back in. And I took my kids out and my dog and we were outside for a while. And then I came back in, totally left my dog outside, which I never do. And so he was like roaming the neighborhood and like our neighbor had to bring him back. And he's like, I thought this was Doug. So I thought we would just like bring him home. And I just kept having these moments where like, I would do something so strange that I wouldn't normally do because I was so forgetful and just having a hard time being like, oh, right, I'm my 3D self again, right? So I have all of this information coming in and I'm just like forgetting where I have my glasses because they're on my face and putting weird stuff in the fridge because I'm like just not quite all the way like integrated back into my body, into my 3D reality. So there's that. And then, again, being around all of you high vibrationals. And my husband, he also was on the trip, which is so funny. He became like our honorary male member for our trip because it was all females. But, even coming back home too, he could see like it was a little bit of a struggle to integrate back in and almost overwhelming just with the, like you just get hit all of a sudden with the real life stuff. And it's so weird because when you're out in that environment, that feels more real than anything. And so when you come back in and you have to uptake this routine, like my body full on rejected it. Like I said, I couldn't eat solid foods for like 2 days. I was literally just eating I was basically just smoothies and juice just because that's what my body needed to like fully integrate in. And I didn't have any more out of body experiences. But like I said, there's just so much just coming in. And so I'm just trying to ride the wave and trying not to lose myself and, missing all of you in that environment and just remembering like we can still create that. It's still happening.
I love that.
And you have, from what I, just got back today, but I have been looking at our WhatsApp and it looks like you have been doing some readings for people already since you got home.
I have. I will say, so the ladies are so wonderful. They were so adamant because, again, this is brand new. And I always ask myself, too, like, I've been spending years just being like, what's my purpose? What am I here for? The number one question that we all seem to always end up with. And obviously I figured it out. I mean, it hit me like a punch in the face. A good punch, like
Pretty
a
much,
punch of
yeah.
sparkles. And it's so wonderful. Again, like just the bonds and the love and everything that we all shared, because the girls actually, and this is something that was so heartwarming to me. So they were so adamant that I need to start up a business and do this, that I had a couple people volunteer to help me with a website. I had another one volunteer to be my attorney so that way I could get an LLC and a license. And actually, everybody donated a little bit of money too that I'm dedicating as a startup business fund. And I could not just believe the amount of support and the outreach that I got from all of you. And so that too was a very profound experience to me. And it makes me feel like I'm being held accountable now. So I can't just be like, I'm not just doing it for me, I'm doing it for all of the ladies that are standing behind me that believe in me.
Heck yeah.
Just beautiful experience.
I'm going to call you out on that language. It was not a donation. It was an energy exchange because you earned that for the work.
You.
I mean, you really it's important. And I know this comes up a lot in spiritual circles and stuff of having that exchange where there's, sometimes there's exchanging gifts and services, and other times there's that, whether it's currency in terms of the energy that you exchange. But Crystal and I were talking about this actually before we hopped on, of like that it does, I think, also allow for a bit of a boundary. And I think it can be really, when we're in these containers like the retreat, we are exchanging energy all the time. We are all helping each other in so many ways. And so there was that energetic exchange. But then there's that going above and beyond, which is what you were doing by sitting with people, like one person you were with till like the wee hours of the night. And like, I still haven't listened to my mom's session. You did one with my mom and she got like the triple.
Oh my gosh, that one was incredible.
Yeah, for like 45 minutes. So she airdropped it to me so I could listen. But I actually remember today, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't listen to that. And everyone's like, you have to listen. Even my sisters listened to it. I haven't listened to it yet. She wasn't even there.
That's awesome.
So she was like, it was so amazing. And I was like, oh my gosh.
The synergy too. Yeah, the synergy between all of us was just
the fields coming together.
Just incredible.
Yes.
I think the exchange helps somewhat with boundaries. So that way, when you're in that container, everyone was kind of giving and flowing and like, let me do this and let me do that. And we were all supporting each other. And then when you come back out into this, reality, which it feels like we are in this magical sister bubble, we come back, it's like, people will take advantage of that all day long. And Crystal and I also talked about that a little bit. And having almost that energetic exchange puts a boundary on that, which is important for your own energy. As we know, like, I didn't have any boundaries and Crystal didn't have boundaries.
I also struggle with boundaries.
Yes. So, and so we suffered a bit coming back, a little bit of a crash landing. Crystal just crashed while she was still there, but I crashed like at home. So
That's true.
And also knowing, I think for you, it's that you're worth it. Like this information that is coming through is so powerful and beautiful and can be life-changing. And so it's honoring that too, honoring that gift that you have to be able to say like, this has value and it's worth something. So I think it's really important when you think about that, because I know people get weird sometimes about charging for things or whatever. And I'm like, and this is probably me coming from the business world and coming into, spirituality is like, it's a business and you're giving it with your full open heart and how you're doing this. And, I watched you from the sidelines interacting with people and I saw the deep care and love that you gave to people as you were sharing information. It actually makes me want to cry right now thinking about a couple of moments. And I felt like a lot of people were that way, but you especially, just the way it was like you left your kids at home, but then you came to like be Mama Jenny to all the people there. And then when you had this experience, where you had this out of body and you shared how you had these giant wings and you wrapped us all in these giant like angel wings. I was like, it's so fitting because I feel like that was you the whole time of just taking so much care with what you were sharing because you knew the information was really powerful. And so I think honoring that too of like, you deserve abundance from that. It's a beautiful gift to share. And in return to have that, I think is important. So I just wanted to get on my soapbox about that.
Thank you so much because I definitely needed to hear that. So thank you.
Yes, for sure. And I feel like there's going to be so many more conversations and I'm excited to have them. But so what would you say was a lesson that you brought home with you outside of these, amazing activations and everything? What would you say is something that as you're back home, you're thinking about that you're like, okay, this was important for me to kind of learn in that environment?
Okay, so for me, I definitely feel like when I was in that environment and the energies were so strong and in such high frequency, and I enjoyed that so much because it matched my energy. I feel like one of the biggest things that I learned like coming home is for me, I'm very empathic. And so I've always had a hard time separating me from other people. So, I take on a lot that isn't necessarily mine, but it feels like it is. And usually I push through that. Usually if I'm feeling like, the energy is not quite a match, I still usually just truck along and I'm like, no, it'll be fine. And I'm learning that the suffering through is not worth it. I'm learning that should be an immediate signal to me that it's okay for me to be like, you know what, this isn't for me. And to move along. Because when you suffer in that lower vibrational frequency, basically you perpetuate that and then the higher frequency stuff doesn't have an opportunity to come in. And so it sucks up all of your time and space and your capacity.
Yeah.
And then the things that you're meant for have a more difficult time coming in. And so I think one of the biggest lessons for me is being around all of you and feeling what that feels like and realizing that that's where I feel at home. That I can have that in my real life, if I so choose, by letting go of the energies and the frequencies that no longer suit me and allowing for those positive, higher frequencies to come in. So that was definitely a gift that I took home with me that I am doing my utmost to integrate in.
Wow.
Well, you're getting lots of head nods from Heather and I because that is something we even talked about just before popping on this call.
We're literally just talking about.
Oh, that's
literally.
great.
Yes.
Yep.
Those boundaries and placing yourself in places where you're valued and people see you and that you feel good and how important that is. And especially for those of us that are empathic, to be surrounded by energies that they don't always have to completely match ours, but you know that they're good and they have your best interests at heart. And we need that. We need that because the work that we do energetically, it does take a lot of our energy and we love it and we enjoy it. But if you're putting your attention elsewhere into places where you're not being fueled in return, it makes it a lot harder to continue on with that work that you want to do in the way you want to do it.
Yeah. And there's something about it too, like it's so isolating, or at least it was for me. And so to go and be in that high frequency energy and to find a community, it just goes to show like the power of that, of bringing in these groups of people and what you can do together. And, anywho, so I feel like the more time that we spend finding those energetic matches to us, I feel like the better off we'll be and the easier it's going to be to anchor in that fifth dimensional reality for all of us.
Oh, that's beautifully said.
Well, stay tuned because Crystal and I were talking, we're throwing some dates around for November. So
I'm holding fast to it. I'm there, ladies.
Little sneak of information of we're already like thinking about, okay, tingling, spidey sense, what's coming in November. So you'll be one of the first to know.
Perfect. I'm sure I'll be one of the first to sign up too. Again.
Yeah. Well, we're so grateful you could join us. We would love to just talk all night. And Natalie would not be happy if I left her with a 5-hour podcast to edit. So that would not be nice.
No problem.
But I think we're going to do our own where, we talk about all these amazing galactic gifts because I think.
Yes, please. I want to see that.
Yeah, it's just going to keep growing and growing. And I'm doing like the energy. Like, I just feel like, it's just the beginning, just the tip of the sunball.
Well, I can't wait.
All right. Well, we love you.
Oh, thank you so much for
joining.
Thanks so much, Jenny. It's so good to see your beautiful face.
Oh, you too, ladies. It's my lifeline. So,
no. Okay.
All right.
Well, we will talk to you and probably message you tomorrow.
Perfect. Tell Bridget I said hi.
Okay. Will do.
Okay. Bye, ladies.
Bye. So fun. All right. Well, our other special guest is rolling right in. So we are going to bring in Bridget. Bridget!
She is.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's so good to see you both.
You too. We were just chatting with Jenny. I was getting a little emotional.
Oh, boy.
And she says hello, of course.
Oh, I love her.
I know.
We've chatted a few times already.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So I know you found your way to the retreat through your friend Debbie. how did it come to that Debbie invited you to come to something spiritual? Were you already kind of open to this? How did it kind of come up?
So we met through work 20 years ago, and we both laughed that, like, if you had said to us 20 years ago, you two are going to go on this retreat and you're going to go on this journey, we both would have said, you're crazy. Like, never thought about it. And then, quite honestly, we both had gone separate ways into different departments in the company and sort of both went on our journeys separately. And then it was when she went through and got certified with the hypnotherapy that we started talking about that. And she came back and I was one of her first that she practiced on. And we sort of started opening up and, feeling safe and saying, oh, me too. And so I would say that was probably maybe 10 years ago. And then 6 years ago, we both moved to other sides of the country. And she had come to the retreat last year. Crystal, I think, were you there at that one?
Sarah and I held that one in Bella Vista last year. Yes.
So Debbie and I were talking and she was telling me how amazing it was. And then when it came up that it was good, that you guys were going to get together, she reached out and said, hey, what do you think? Do you want to go? And I'm like, I'm buying the ticket. What's the date?
Yeah.
I'm there. But it was really one of those things that we both sort of found our paths on our own and then kind of came back together when we sort of got more comfortable with it.
And I didn't ask you this either. Was this one of your first, like, kind of spiritual retreats?
This was my very first one.
Oh, wow.
My
Okay.
very first one of hopefully many more.
Oh, we set the bar high.
Oh, you did. Very, very high. But definitely, that was my first. And she had told me about it. It was like maybe in December. And it was one of the things that I had manifested for this year was to find my group of women. And I specifically said the way Debbie did. And boy, I really found the group of women the way Debbie did.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Powerful manifestation there.
Yep.
Very.
Yep.
So Bridget was my tea buddy. So we had lots of tea together, which was lovely. And I got to witness her tarot gift. So tell us first, how has it been out of the bubble, like kind of being in the 3D? Because you and I share, well, and Crystal too, because she's in corporate nursing, the work she's doing in the public. How has it been kind of going back into the 3D stuff?
It's been a crazy week. I can't believe it's only been a week since we left. The first day back into my world, everything felt so heavy. I was just really surprised at how heavy it was. And thankfully, we have our little chat group going. And every time I would get a little notification, it sort of brought that vibration back up for me. And then I came home and I said, you know what? No, I'm not going to let this pull me back down. I really sort of drew on that. And I just went back in the next day, got up and said, okay, no, I'm going back in the person I am now, not the person I was before. So it was heavy. And then I started to realize, and I haven't told you guys this yet, but I kind of feel like I was sleepwalking through life. And I feel like I'm not remembering things the same, or I'm looking at everything different this week. And everything has just been like, I feel like I just woke up. It's been really bizarre in a wonderful way. Like things that I'm like, I don't have time for that. I'm not giving that my energy.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to figure it out because I'm like, I almost feel like pre-retreat was sort of blurry now. Like, I don't want to go back or remember that. But it really felt like I was kind of sleepwalking. And now I'm not.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really powerful.
You were definitely not, girl.
You were in it. I never asked you, did you end up going to sleep Sunday night? Because I know you were determined you were going to stay up all night.
That's right.
You're like, I am not sleeping. I am in such a high vibration. There's no way I'm going to sleep.
And I think it was the tea. It was the tea. I really think that the tea was what brought me down, because the first night I got no sleep. The amount of incoming information, I just felt like there was just so much coming and I couldn't filter it. And I feel like every day I got a little bit better at filtering it. And I did go to sleep, and I really did. Monday was tough going home.
Yeah.
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 I might have ugly cried on the plane.
Yeah. Aww. So this is really interesting because I want to like understand this. So when you kind of got there Thursday, did you kind of like step into the bubble and stuff started coming in that hadn't really happened before? Or?
Oh, yeah. Immediately. We got there Thursday evening. We got there a little bit later. And so I didn't get a lot of chance to talk to everybody. I think we kind of settled in. And that night, it just felt like I was inundated with all this energy and noise. And I just couldn't make heads or tails of it because it was just so much, but it in a good way. And so then every day, it just seemed like I could filter it a little bit better and make more sense of it each day. And then definitely the major shift was during the sound bath. That was that healing, that session, that I actually journaled the whole time I was there, and I journaled the whole way home on the airplane. And when I look back at it really, that moment, everything sort of clicked. And then I was able to make more sense of what I was hearing, or maybe I was just trusting what I was hearing.
Wow.
That's like so magical for us to hear. Because I know that like Heather and I have not done a sound bath together before. I've done lots of sound baths in my community, and I've had a couple people help me just with the tuning fork part. But yeah, like we said already in this podcast, so I would do Reiki on the head, and then Heather would do Reiki on the feet. And it just has been so wonderful to hear what has come through when we did that. And I can't wait to get back together with Heather and do that again, because it seemed like a lot of the activations really started to like, they were bubbling up before, but really came to fruition during that experience.
Oh, absolutely. That experience, I almost didn't have words when we got done. I think I sat there for a while on the dock because I just was trying to process it. And then I tried to write as much of it down so that I wouldn't forget it. So
tell us your experience, because you came to the retreat and you had some surgeries last year. And so you were still kind of physically recovering.
So I had 2 knee replacements within 3 months last year. So I've been healing physically for years. Stairs and a lot of walking have just not been in my life. And that beautiful house on the top of that hill and all the up and down, I thought, I looked over and I thought, oh, this is going to be fun. And then I'm telling you, no pain. I had no pain. I was up and down those stairs the whole time. Just could not believe that I didn't hurt. I couldn't believe how good I felt and how much energy I had. I don't normally stay up late. And I feel like, Heather, we stayed up every night past everybody else, just chit-chatting and having our tea.
Yeah.
And
magic tea.
I wasn't drained. I wasn't tired. I felt physically great. And then, then my fear of water and the anxiety over that.
Yeah, so tell us that.
So I was just going to say before you tell this story, if I hadn't been at this retreat and seen this all firsthand, I don't think I would believe this, to be honest, because it's something that you almost would hear like in a movie, or that someone else would say to try to get you to come to their retreat. It almost doesn't sound believable, but I like literally saw this all unfold before my eyes. And so I'm just going to say that. And Bridget, we'll turn it over to you because it really is phenomenal.
So I've always had this fear of fish and of water that I can't see through, like the lake. Just not going to get in it. I can look at it. It's pretty, not getting in. And that first day I was down on the dock and talking to some of the other people, and Lee said, that's it. We're taking care of this. And she's like, we're clearing this trauma. We're healing you. And this is not going to be a thing anymore. And she did her thing. And then we did our regression, and then you did the sound healing. And there was just all of these moments where it was building the momentum. And I woke up Sunday and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm ready to go jump in that lake. Okay. And so you guys, we were having our water ceremony, and which was beautiful. And then it was, okay, we're all going to get in the lake. And I just jumped in the lake because I wanted to. It wasn't like I didn't feel, oh, I have to do this, or, I just wanted to get in that water. It was the craziest feeling. And I just jumped in. I think I was one of the first ones in. You
You
were.
were. And I think it took me like minutes and minutes and minutes to be like, she's actually in here. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable.
It was.
And wanted to stay in. Everybody got out. And I'm like, why is everybody getting out? Come on. You know? So it was
Wow.
crazy. Debbie actually did a video. She recorded me doing it and took some pictures because she couldn't believe it either.
Would your family have even believed it? Like, what did they say when you told them?
Oh, not even. So I got home and my husband, he's like, and he didn't want to say I'm a different person, but he's like, this is the most authentic version of yourself I think you've ever been able to be. And,
Okay, now I'm going to get teary.
And we had conversations about just, things in my normal life and how I get tired and I want to go to bed and I just kind of want to shut the world out. And he's like, I've never seen you with this much energy and you're just ready to go. And he's like, it's not a problem of what you're doing in your life. It's who is in your life, And so, yeah, we've had some pretty intense conversations. And he even said, wherever we move, you have to get this energy. So who knows? Maybe we'll be one of those Arkansas people too.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
I mean, he flat out said, wherever we go next, it has to be able to provide you with this type of energy because he could just see the vibration.
Wow.
So, between the relationships, overcoming fears or just doubts, self-doubts, I couldn't get over how everybody loved each other so much from like the first minute. There was no awkwardness. There was no, am I going to sound weird if I say this? Like the bonds were just there and amazing. So
Yeah.
I want to go back.
I know.
Same, and I'm having a hard time separating the two groups now because we had, like I said, Sarah and I had done this one last year. And now, Bridget, I feel like I've known you forever. I feel like you were at the one last year. Yes. Everyone that came into that container, it just feels like lifelong friends. Such a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I think it is this energy field. We started blending with each other where it was just like, I knew that people were talking about me and I didn't get to say this when Jenny was on. Like I went to the house twice. I walked in and I was like, are you guys doing oracle cards? And they're like, oh my God, how'd you know? And they're like, we were just talking about you. And there was just a seat there waiting for me. Like I knew. And then cleaning up from having like our big group dinner together. And I was like, this is why people love being sister wives. Like I totally get it now. Like this makes sense to me. It's coming home and having people that are similar. And I don't want to be in a cult, but just when you're all in these like open-hearted vibrations and you just want to share and learn and no jealousy, no pettiness, and just help each other. And it was like, okay, we probably should start cleaning up the food. And I mean, everyone was just like, women swooped in and that kitchen was clean and it was a big kitchen. And like 15 minutes, no questions of like, well, what should I do? And everyone's just like, we're just going to do and we're going to get it done so we can get back to doing fun things. And it just was like this, it was so beautiful to me because of course, fighting, cleaning up and, I host everything and I feel like I do a lot on my own and my sister tries to help as much as she can, but she's a little one and it's hard. And that to me, which sounds silly and trite, but to me to see that come together, there was no like, I don't want to do that or I'm going to like skulk over here like in a normal group where it's like, oh, I'm going to just kind of go over here so I don't have to really do anything. Everyone was like, okay, what do I do? How do I help? Like just dive in and do it. And it felt like that was like the energy of the weekend of just everyone, we were just talking to Jenny too about the energy exchange where people just wanted to like give and help and like, oh, wait, this is coming through. Let me share this with you. And I think, that blending. And it's still happening, I think, through the group where, like Jenny sent me something, even today when I was confirming timing for this. And I was like, I literally was just drafting in my mind the text. And then I see your text comes through about today. And I was like, yeah, still in our field. Again, not in a creepy way, but in a like, you're very connected. And this is how my understanding, and I'm sure Crystal, with all that you've tapped in of like, when you are in these higher vibrational energies, things flow and thoughts flow and you connect with people where you don't have to say as much, like it's just understood. And that's what we all experience. And so it can be really hard then to like go and have people cutting you off when you're driving and have to go into work and you're getting emails from people. But I have to say, as much as physically it was very difficult for me for a couple of days because I took on a little too much. But I have to say, like, I think I've had such a focus on like being really open-hearted that that's most of what I've received. I almost feel like I have this force field and I have to, not jinx myself that I have this force field of like a love magnet. And so it's like I'm bringing in the love stuff and the yucky stuff is just falling away. And then you realize, and Jenny was sharing this too, and I don't know if you feel this way, Bridget, that then all of a sudden there's so much space for all of that good stuff to come in because you're able to get rid of the stuff that doesn't serve you anymore. You can drop those relationships or whatever they are, or just not put your energy into it. You don't have to cut someone off. It's just like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say yes to this. I'm going to actually not. I'd rather FaceTime with my friend and do tarot.
Well, and for me, I noticed even just when somebody says something that's maybe not necessary, it just rolls right off of me. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm sorry that you feel that energy.
Yeah.
I'm not taking that on because that's yours, not mine. Just everything I've kind of leaned into, I just kind of pull back to like feel that feeling when I feel a little bit down. But it's really, I feel like I'm looking at everything just with a different lens, and the amount of conversations that are going on outside of the chat that we have of the whole group, it's incredible. I mean, Jenny and I were talking about how there was no like, oh, she's that person or she's this person. There was no labeling. Everybody just melded together in such a beautiful tapestry where we just all had a part to play and our piece to bring to this. And it just came together so beautifully. And so I know there's not words to describe it.
So Bridget was our resident tarot guide and master, even though she was hiding her bushel under a light no, other way around. Sorry, the light under the bushel.
I was.
Yeah, where it was kind of like, yeah, I dabble in that. And I know you were like, oh, I did this for my friends, like women's group. And I put this little book together. And then you have like your whole hocus pocus magic spell book of different tarot layouts, or what would you call it?
Oh, like the tarot spreads. Yeah. And then I created a book that I studied each card and just wrote what they mean to me so that when I see them, I know what emotion it evokes in me. And that kind of tells me what that card is trying to tell me. So for me, I've come to embrace the fact that that is how I channel information, I think, better. Quite honestly, I have ADHD, and I was told I'm amazing at patterns and pattern recognition and symbols. And it all was like, oh, well, that tracks, as to why I, connected to that, and just brought the decks, brought everything, brought it out. But I was like, we'll see. And I couldn't get over how many readings I was doing and how everybody was just like, me next. And I'm like, what is happening?
Get in line.
Like the imposter syndrome just kind of fell away. I really went in there feeling like I dabbled truly. And I walked out of there with sessions to
tarot
booked.
goddess.
Yeah.
I'm one of the ones that's coming up. I didn't have the opportunity to connect as deeply in the nighttime as some of the rest of you because I developed a cold, which, by the way, again, just speaking of community and the love that I felt and the tinctures that were being made to try to help me get feeling better. But I didn't get the opportunity to, like you and Heather, to sit at that table and watch you in action. But I have already reached out to Bridget. And now that I'm back in Canada, as of today, I'm going to set up a time with her to get one of these magical readings. So you are in demand. Your gifts are actually, I feel like it's being seen, and it's not just something to dabble in at a women's group anymore. You were like, you are doing this.
It feels so good. It feels so good to confidently sit down and do a reading and communicate and share. And Jenny and I did a joint reading for somebody in the group. And that happened because so many of us were sitting around a table that we all started kind of doing readings together. And you suddenly were adding to it, and it just built into more than what we could have ever imagined. We were all taking our gifts and putting them together And it just kept going and going and going. The momentum was insane.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be doing tarot readings, and I've done quite a few this week already, and then some next week with Lee's patients. She's like, I've got some clients who want to meet with you.
Yay. Yeah. So tell everyone, what's your Instagram, right? Is that kind of how right now
So, it's funny
out?
because my website is Biddy's Flame. So Biddy is the nickname for Bridget.
Okay.
And Bridget is the goddess of fire. So Biddy's Flame, BIDDYSFLAME. So you guys really encouraged me to say, just do it. You're legit. And I was like, okay, if they think I am, everybody just kept sharing so much love and confidence in each other. Mm-hmm. And that was just so refreshing and beautiful. And I wish we had that more in our everyday lives.
Yeah. And I can tell you, I've been to, and Crystal has been to many retreats, and I've been to many retreats. And I think it's really special when you can be in a container together, like in a home, to have I would wake up in the morning and you were there at the table. And I was like, okay, morning tea and, nighttime tea. It was like Bridget was my bookend of the day. And, to wake up and continue to be in this container and not have to go back and forth and, worry about driving place or whatever. So that was great. But I think all of us melding those fields and being able to just share so organically where, I was regretful that I asked Jenny a question about my galactic history and I'm trying to make beans and she's spewing all this information. I was like, damn it, I should have at least hit record on my phone or something.
Right. And she says a lot. So
it is a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah.
But even, getting to sit with you and, I'm going to let you say, so not only did you do the tarot, but then you have this handy dandy pendulum chart where you get information. And so what information came out for us?
That pendulum has been active. It basically said that you will be doing a smaller version of the retreat in November in Pennsylvania. And I did it with the cards and the pendulum, and it was with Crystal.
Yep.
And it was November. The partnership, it was the Two of Cups, Queen of Cups energy, the Queen of Wands. We had those two queens, and the pendulum was spelling Pennsylvania. And I finally, after the second N, I'm like, it's okay. We don't.
Yeah.
So November.
Yep. So Crystal and I, before we hopped on and we told Jenny this, hot off the presses, I think I found a place. And so I'm just waiting. It said it wasn't available, but I reached out and she's like, oh, it might be available. What are you thinking? And so I was like, whoa.
I'm so excited. The look on your face, Heather, when I was like November and you were kind of like, oh, I think you first asked, is it going to be 2026? And it was like, yep, you are.
Yeah.
And the kind of look on your face, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay. I was like, all right, well, I guess
Oh.
so. And then we got that 2027 would be Arkansas again. Then we'd go back.
Yes.
Which makes me so happy. But the other thing about that is just before Heather went to see you, Bridget, we had been talking about maybe doing a retreat in Pennsylvania, closer to her home, maybe even at her home. And then we were talking about yin and yang. And as I think she was coming to see you, I sent her a piece of jewelry from one of her favorite jewelers. And I said, I think we need this piece. It's a yin and yang symbol. And then I'm pretty sure, from what I understand, you said something about yin and yang to her immediately.
Yeah. When I was doing the reading, there were several cards that had the yin and yang meaning in the card. The Chariot and the Wheel of Fortune had the yin and yang. And I said, and then I even looked at the Two of Cups and I thought about you two and your balance, and the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Cups. And they were very balanced. I said, it's very yin and yang. And Heather's face, she's just like, oh, I have to show you what Crystal.
Look what Crystal just texted me.
She showed me. I was like, yes. All these wonderful, beautiful, things that are confirming that, yes, it was synchronicities. I was like, this is yin and yang, and this is yin and yang. And Heather just kept kind of getting these looks on her face like, oh my gosh. So I hope you've ordered your yin and yang necklaces, because
I did, yes.
Good.
And Crystal's going to get hers when she comes in November.
November? Oh, I'm so excited.
We'll be waiting here for her.
Oh, well, count me in. I'm definitely Keep me
Thank
away.
you. Yes, I know. I feel like the retreat will be sold before we can advertise it.
Yeah.
So,
It might be.
yes, we're very excited. Well, yeah, and just so appreciate you sharing what a profound experience it was. And even for your husband and his experience of you, like what a beautiful thing to come back. Because I think a lot of times whoever we live with, anyone in our house can feel like, oh, wow, like you're different or what was that like? And then feel like less than or I'm not enough or whatever that is. And to have that partner who's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And we have to go to a place where you're like this all the time. Like how beautiful to, not feel like he doesn't feel threatened by that and can see that, such a goal of this podcast is for people to be able to remove the mask, especially in our day-to-day lives, whether that's being at the grocery store and seeing a neighbor and covering up our like crystals and not being able to be authentic because they're like, oh, they're going to think I'm weird, to like being in a corporate environment and be able to talk about these things. And I feel like before you know it, you're going to be doing tarot as the wellness initiative.
Yes.
Trust me, I'm discussing it and mapping this all out. And, it's that corporate side of me, that project manager, that planner, the operations. I'm like, I got this. And I'm just running with, melding the two worlds.
You're going to be weaving your tapestry. That's what I would call it.
Oh, and I have so many other amazing things, but I know you have a podcast to do.
I was joking that we could have a 5-hour podcast on this, but
yeah, I'm actually just journaling a lot. So that way I can remember it and maybe send you some of the stories and just so you know, because it was the most, I don't want to say life-changing, but, it really was because I was able to finally accept who I am as my authentic self and love who I am as my authentic self. And I think that was it.
Well, we're glad because we love you too. And sometimes you go to these things and you just think if everyone could see you or you could see yourself through all of our eyes, and it's so hard for us to accept that sometimes. But when you walk away and you finally can, because you walked into that room and you were so loved and we all saw you for the gifts that you have. And so to hear that you are living that now, I am just so happy because that is what we should all be looking to achieve in our lives. That's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. I
so magical.
Yes, it was. It was. I know. So many happy tears.
Yes. Yeah. Just emotional thinking about, but I think it's nice, as beautiful as the container is, it's even more so that we can continue it through having these technologies and being appreciative of being able to stay connected and just send a text at any moment and knowing that, a lot of times when you leave the retreats, there's a lot of like frenetic catch up and then some people kind of drop away. And I always say like those are the people that probably are not meant to stay. Like everyone comes into our lives for a reason and some stay and some, leave. But I have a feeling this group is gonna, we've just woven something a little bit different where I think it'll be a little stickier.
I agree. I feel like this is lightning in a bottle and I'm holding on tight. That. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. So wonderful. Well, thank you for coming on to share just a little bit about your experience. I know we're both so grateful to have your energy there and have it coming through on the podcast and to be able to share. And I think, at some point I said this to Jenny too. I feel like I have many more podcasts in the pipeline now from just the experience of I even think learning of building this confidence and being able to say I'm going to start doing this work for other people. I think just the unfolding of that, of you coming out a beautiful flower and okay, I'm here. Just so beautiful. And so I feel like there's going to be lots more conversations about this because I think a lot of people are very curious and oh, that could be me. Maybe if I was brave enough to kind of step out and have this confidence, gosh, what could it be? What could life be like?
It's beautiful. That's all. It's just beautiful. And, I just am so blessed that Debbie asked me to come join her to this retreat because I feel like I found my people.
We feel that too.
You're my people.
Me too. You're our people.
100%. Yeah.
Our soul sister moon tribe.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you for letting me share my story.
Of course. I'm so grateful. We're both so grateful. All right. Well, you have a good night, and I know we'll be talking, and I can't wait to hear more of the fun, beautiful stories. But thank you, Bridget.
Right.
We love you.
Love Bridget.
Bye.
Love you.
Okay. Well, now I'm like crying. My nose is running. So
I know.
this has been beautiful. We haven't really even talked about our own experience, but I think as we unpack, we'll have to do another episode. But I think this was really powerful to hear from people, and not even knowing, I think, some of these things of how people find their way to things and synchronicities. I think one thing I hope people are taking away from this is listen. If someone invites you to a retreat now, you just jump. You have to use discernment for sure. But
yes, please.
At the same time, also know that the universe is putting out breadcrumbs to say like, oh yeah, this thing, or hey, maybe I should ask about this, or maybe I should spend a little more time doing this thing that lights me up or brings me joy, because chances are something you're probably meant to be doing. And it's so amazing that Bridget and Jenny and others discovered these things in this container, but you don't have to be at a retreat to do it. You just have to have the right community, and not even the right community. Honestly, I think you have to just be in your own vibration and be in an energy where you believe in yourself and love yourself. And I think anything is possible from that place. So you don't even have to, because I know people struggle with community and who they're surrounding themselves with. But if you're looking for community, certainly try and find people who love things that you do. And chances are, if that lights you up and it lights them up, there's probably some commonality that might help raise your vibration a little bit, where maybe all of a sudden you start channeling and these gifts come out of nowhere. I don't know.
Well, and I think that they are there. Like even today on my flight home, I was coming home from Denver, and there was a woman sitting in front of me on the plane, and someone asked her if she lived there and what she was doing. She said, no, I live in Edmonton, but I was just in Boulder for a retreat, a spiritual retreat, she said. And she said, I have never worked so hard. It was exhausting, but I know when I get home, I'm sure I'll feel better. And I just thought that is so different from what we just did, because it flowed. No one felt exhausted. Even as facilitators, I did not feel exhausted by the work we were doing. I got a cold and I had to leave you guys and go to bed early because of that, but not anything to do with the energy. It just flowed and it was so easy. And I think when you find your people and you find your natural gifts, it does just flow and it isn't hard. And so again, it's that piece of discernment and like aligning yourself with something that does have sort of a natural rhythm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I love it.
Anyways, you're sniffly, not because you have a cold. And yes, I think we'll unpack more later. But Heather, thank you for giving us the gift of being able to revisit the weekend and the experience, because truly it was magical. I've said this to you and I'll just say it again, but if I were to go to a retreat, it was literally everything I could have dreamed of. And I was just so happy to be a part of it. And I'm so grateful that you partnered up and that we could share in that experience and facilitate it together, because it was, we are the yin and yang.
Yin and yang, the celestial balance.
The celestial balance. It was beautiful.
Yes, it was. Well, thank you. I'm so grateful we could do this. And I feel like we recapped a little bit through stories, but I know that there'll be more things unfolding and there'll just be more conversations. So I'm glad that we could hear these stories from two people attending, and look forward to see what other magic is going to unfold as more time passes. So until then, thanks everyone for listening and listening to us gush all over each other. And I hope it allows you to feel like there are places to be seen and heard and loved and be in these vibrations and all the magic, and it's real and it's out there. And I wish that everyone will find this for themselves, because it's truly uplifting and such a gift. So until next time, thanks everyone for listening. Be well.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your precious day to listen to our podcast. If this episode resonated with you, we would love for you to share it with someone you love. That would mean the world to us. Also, if you feel called, please follow our show so you will know when a new episode drops. If you want to go one step further, you can even rate this episode, as it allows our podcast to find its way to others. Lastly, we've done our best to share resources that you might find helpful in the show notes, whether that's a book recommendation or a website we referenced during the episode, a free resource, or more information on a guest who took their time to speak with us and share their knowledge. We would love for you to support their work too. You can find more information on our podcast website at becomingspiritual.me. We love you and can't wait for you to hear the next episode. Until then, know you have a place where you are welcome and you are loved. Welcome home.